Okay, this is take two. The videos froze midway, but yeah. So in this part, I'm going to go over questions 35 to 39. All right. So here, okay, this is similar to some of the other questions we saw in the other two parts, but there are two students, Brayden and Hannah, and they're trying to calculate the slope. So this slope of the same line, okay? So yeah, there are two different approaches here that they took, and we want to see if who's correct and who's not, okay? Like I mentioned in the previous video, to compute the slope when you're given a graph, there are many ways, okay? You just got to choose two nice points. What does nice mean? Whole numbers. Stick with whole numbers, natural numbers, or integers, okay? If you can't find a nice one, then you could use like friendly fractions, but try not to use fractions because the calculation gets a little hairy. So let's see what Brayden did. So Brayden's choice of 2 points was this one and this one. This is a very nice point, the y-intercept, because the y-intercept, x is always 0. So here, he chose this point and he calculated what the rise was and what the over the run, right? And what the run was. So rise is talking about the change in y, and y controls the height, right? So there's only two directions for the y. It's either positive or negative. Positive if the numbers are getting bigger, and negative if it's getting smaller, okay? And then for the x, it controls left or right. Left if you're left if the number is negative, and right if the number is positive, or if you're getting bigger. Okay. I think I botched this one up compared to take one, but it's okay. Yeah. So I should say, yeah, when you're moving to the right, it's positive, and if you're moving to the left, it's negative, and if you're moving down on the y, it's negative. Okay, and if you're moving up on the y, it's positive. Okay. So here, let's see what he did. The rise. So this is talking about the y. He's moving up 1, 2. So that's going to be a positive 2 for the rise over the run, which is he's moving to the right, which is positive. So he's moving 3. It's going to be positive 3. So this is 2/3. Okay, so Brayden looks like he did a good job. Okay, now Hannah's work. Hannah chose these 2 points, this one and this one. Okay, it looks like the second point's the same, but let's see how she does it. Okay, so here she's calculating the rise over the run, right? You could, when you're doing it, right, you could do either one of them first, but just make sure that you put the rise on the top and the run on the bottom, right? So let's see. So here the run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right, which is a positive 6. So I'm gonna put that on the bottom because that's the run, like I said. And then the rise is 1, 2, 3 up, which is positive 4. So the slope, according to her work, is 4/6, and 4/6, if you simplify that, is 2/3. Okay, so it looks like both of them are correct. Okay, so what choice is that? Well, it can't be only Brayden. We said that. It can't be this. It's got to be C. Okay, and D. Yeah, it can't be that. 36. The table of values shown below represents a relation. A relation. Okay, that's just I mentioned the set of ordered pairs from the previous videos. Okay, so here, which statement describes the relation? All right, so let's see what's correct. So these are the ordered pairs. Okay. All right. The table represents a function because, so that means this statement is saying that it's a function because this better be the definition of a function. Is it true? Each input has only one output. Yeah. The way I view it is much better, like saying exactly. Every input has exactly one output. Okay. So this thing is acceptable too. This is good. So it looks like it's this. But let's check the other choices. B. The table represents a function because each output has only one input. No, that's not the definition of a function, so it can't be B. C. The table does not represent a function. Okay, why not? Because each input has only one output. Okay, so this is the definition for a function, right? So it cannot be that it's not a function then, right? Because it's contradicting the definition, so it can't be that. D. The table does not represent a function because it can't be that because this is not the definition of a function. But this does talk about some future math topics, okay? But yeah. On which number line does point P represent the value of the expression square root of 4 plus square root of 10? Okay, so this is testing your knowledge on perfect squares, okay? And using perfect squares to make estimations and also placing numbers on the number line, okay? So if I were to do this with no calculator, well, I know that square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 10 is not a perfect square, but it's sandwiched between two perfect squares. It's in between square root of 9 and square root of 16. Square root of 9 is the same thing as saying 3. Square root of 16 is the same thing as saying 4. square root of 10 is closer to square root of 9, so then that means square root of 10, it should be 3-ish, okay? So that's saying you're adding 2 with 3-ish, so the result should be 5-ish. Okay, so now which of these points P represents 5-ish? It's got to be C. Okay. Yeah, if you don't have a good sense of the number line, you should practice, but if not, you could also use a calculator and do this math, but this is the best way, okay? All right. 38, a scatter plot. Okay, so this is talking more about the statistic stuff. Which statement best describes the association between X and Y? Association, this just means like a connection or a link between these two variables, X and Y. Okay, in statistics, you're oftentimes looking at data in the real world, so the X would represent something like time, and Y would represent something like maybe like the words per minute that you're typing, or time versus like your growth, your height, or something like that, okay? But anyways, yeah. Here, so which statement best describes the connection between X and Y? So in order to do this, you have to look at the choices here. Linear means line-like. Okay, so there's a connection between them and it's a line relationship. From the scatter plot, it looks like that. It looks like it's a linear association. So now the next thing is, what does positive or negative mean? Okay, so if I have a positive association, positive means that as one variable increases, the other one increases. So as X increases, Y increases. Okay, is that true? Yeah, as the X values get bigger, it does seem like the Y values are getting bigger, right? They're getting bigger, right? So it's got to be, it looks like it's going to be A. A negative association is when as one variable increases, the other one decreases. Okay, so here, let's see what's happening. As I go in this direction, the X is getting bigger. So as X increases, negative association would be as Y decreases. So if you had a negative slope, like for example, like this, right? This is a negative slope. This would, if you had a scatter plot like this would have a negative association, okay? So it can't be that. And there's a positive nonlinear. I wouldn't say it's that because the collection of the data points looks line-like. So it's got to be A and D. Yeah, can't be that. Okay, great. Next question. 39. A table of values for a linear function is shown below. Okay, great. So here they straight up tell you that it's a linear function. All right? So now they're asking you to find what is the rate of change for this function. Okay, if they're telling you that it's a linear function, then that means, from my previous video, right, as I said, no matter what two points that you look at, right, X comma Y to the next, you're always going to get a constant rate of change, a constant slope, okay? So if you just use this assumption that it's linear, then you can do this in many ways. You can just choose 2 points that you like. Okay, but if you're like a little paranoid and you want to check, you can also check. So watch that other video though. So let's try it. So what is the rate of change for this function? We have to find out what the change in Y over the change in X is. So what's the delta Y over the delta X? So let me choose the first 2 rows. So from negative 18 to negative 8, that is plus 10. So that means that the delta X is positive 10. The change in Y is negative 6 to negative 1, that's positive 5. So it's going to be 5 over 10, which is the same thing as saying a half. So the answer will be a half. Not sure if they will take off points if it's 5/10. It doesn't say simplify, so I wouldn't be taking off the points. But yeah, I don't know how they grade it, but yeah. But here, so you can check the other documents I mentioned, right? But this is probably the cleanest answer with no worries, okay? But let's check the other ones to be safe, right? Negative 8 to 0, that's going to be plus 8. And this thing better be plus 4. It is, right? Because that's the same thing as saying a half, right? And then look, this is plus 4. Then this better be plus 2, right? It is. So it's 2 over 4. That's good. And yeah, you could do the same thing here. And for funsies, you can try this too. This would work. You should do that on your free time. Okay, that's it. See ya.